Today's adventure brings us to Tonawanda, New York, and this is the Failing Cemetery. And forgive me if I'm pronouncing that wrong. But let's get started. So the Failing Cemetery is a little corner lot cemetery located on the corner of Delaware and Willow Breeze Road in Tonawanda, New York. It's a unique little historic cemetery. You don't see this a lot. A little parcel of land right in the middle of town surrounded by houses. And there's a lot of historic markers here. Now, this cemetery I've always wanted to put on my channel, and now that I'm doing cemetery safaris, I think we can take a quick little tour and visit some of the residents here. So, let's get started. And how we're going to get started is, the first thing we're going to do is read the sign to give us a little background on the cemetery. So the plaque reads that it's a burial land since 1816. This is one of the early cemeteries in the town of Tonawanda, donated by Jeremiah and David Failing. It is now known as the Failing Cemetery. Pretty simple. There's a lot of historical burials here, and we'll see if we can find any veterans of foreign wars as well. Again, forgive me if I'm actually butchering the pronunciation of Failing Cemetery. I'm kind of saying it as it reads. So, as you can see, there's a church across the street, and the cemetery itself is enclosed by a new wrought iron fence. It was replaced a couple years ago. So, let's get started. Let's say hello to some of the residents here. Okay, this is Philip Wire. He died February 3rd, 1872. He was 54. So back in those days, the mortality rates were actually fairly high. Looks like he may be surrounded by some family. That stone there says father, and you can take a look at this one here. Very old cemetery, so a lot of the markers are bleached out. I can only think that that might be mother. And this is Catherine, wife of Philip. She died April 24, 1883. She was 60, so she actually outlived him. And they're buried here in the same plot. So what I'm thinking is this is probably the main marker, and this could be the husband and wife right here. Over here. Again, some of these are going to be fairly difficult to read. Very, very old cemetery. I love how it's maintained, though. Now let's kind of go over here a little bit. This looks like it's Jacob Wire. Looks like he was either 81 or 91. He's got an American flag at his stone, at the foot of his stone, so that could indicate that he was a veteran of one of the wars. Doesn't really say. There's no Grand Army of the Republic marker, 1812, or Revolutionary War burial marker, but typically when you see a flag like that, that means they're a veteran of some type. These stones here are preserved as well as they possibly could. Wish I could get a better read on some of these. This here is Elizabeth, who she was married to, is actually broken up and kind of weathered out. So when you see something like this, I'm thinking these stones actually stood upright at one point and they fell down. And this is the attempt at keeping preservation going by not letting it simply sink into the ground and disappear. Much like this one over here. This looks like last name Zimmerman, passed away February 3rd, 1861. Now what we have over here, it looks like these two stones were upright standers just like those two, but they fell. And once again, they've been wonderfully preserved, though, with the concrete foundation under. Now this looks like the actual Failing family. Now, this is Richard. Looks like he died August 27th, 1808. Looks like he was 80. This is Catherine. Looks like she died April 28th, 1862 or 3. She was 77. This is Anna, wife of John Failing. Looks like she passed away August 18th, 1858. She was only 24. Again, that's sad. High mortality rates back in those days. This is Hiram Failing. He died, looks like November 7th, 1846. He might have only been like 40, 43. This is John Failing. Looks like he died, he was 80. It's not exactly as clear as I would like it to be. Looks like the 1850s. July 18th, 1850, aged, can't really make it out. Seems like he might have been young. This is Mary. This person died July 26, 1816 or probably 1846. This is Alexander Zimmerman. Can't exactly make out his details and his when he passed away, how old he was. This is just a random marker. Elizabeth, wife of M.J. Valem, born September 30, died December 25th, Christmas, 1870, 89. James, son of, can I just give the first names of whose parents were? Zimmerman. So Zimmerman's got a pretty good footprint in this cemetery. Died 1842. Looks like he may have only been 16. That's sad. Let's see what we got cooking over here. Not clear what this is. It's got the willow tree symbolism on it. This is George. Kind of illegible. Again, this is a fairly small cemetery, so this is going to be fairly easy to kind of go through and do what I'm doing here. Elizabeth Notch, 1818. Not sure, 1811 possible. Well, can't be. Again, these stones are very old, so it's very hard sometimes to get the accurate information from them. So this one here might have been a child or an infant. So I'm seeing 1 month, 21 days on the 2nd of July. here. What we have going on this side. They're kind of very hard to tell. This is a neat little arrangement over here. Another Zimmerman plot. Solomon, Valentine, and what could be children possibly? Hard to say. These are all busted up and heavily worn. Let's see if we could tell who these folks are. Well, one thing is for certain, it's kind of worn through, but it's definitely another Zimmerman. So the Zimmermans and the Failing, this might be some type of a family cemetery for sure. But the Zimmermans and the Failings seem to be the predominant interments here. Our Mother Jane. Here we have the dove coming down as far as the symbolism on the stone. Died February 19th, 1860. Looks like she was 60 years old. It's pretty good for back in those days. Once again, this is actually a more recent and beautiful marker. This is for Jeremiah Failing, born August 21st, 1815, died February 24th, 1907. So it's definitely a newer marker. And over here we got stone representing the mother. I wonder if she's Emmeline. She was born in Herkimer, May 18th, 1821. She died September 4th, 1885. Blessed are the dead which die in the Lord. Die in the Lord, yeah, I got that right. Got some shadowing going on, a little tough. I didn't want to botch that. There's Adeline, born February 9th, 1855, died January 6th, 1908. So it's not entirely clear which one of these represents the mother. I have to deep dive that a little. Let's kind of go over here. We have, I don't think these are stone markers. I think this is more kind of like a location marker. There's a big old modern stone, once again, to the Zimmerman family. Mother Olive, father Franklin. More modern stone. I've always had a thing for stones that were placed in front of trees. Like that. Kind of like, I don't know, the balance between life and death. Kind of go over here. Now this is where the ground takes an obvious dip. I wonder if this is a sunken gravesite. Definitely have some caution cones over there around that one. Let's see if we can see who this is. It's not really legible, but it's really nice that it's still in as good condition as it is. Now, I'm not able to be this in-depth with all the cemeteries I go to and I visit, but this is fortunate because it's a smaller cemetery. Kind of gonna go over this way. Check out this little section over here. So far, with the exception of that flag, I haven't seen any indication of anybody that served either in 1812. I don't think we'd find anyone from the Revolution. Nothing from the Civil War yet, unless it's just not really marked and indicating it. This is DR Failing. Another marker similar to the one on the right. Newer. See if there's any information here. David. Born December 9th, 1819. We're gonna kind of swing over this way. Yes, in this fall, I just love the sound of the leaves crunching under my feet. Kind of gives this whole thing ambiance. Just is kind of illegible, so we're going to pull back. Oh, I love this. This is meditative, actually. This is Elizabeth Zimmerman. I believe the tree is uprooting her stone. Looks like she was 32 when she passed away. Swing around to the back of it here. I love how the crunching leaves are just creating this backdrop for this video. Julia M. Metzler? Zimmerman. Metzler must be her last name. July 11th, 1888, she was 61 when she passed away. May she rest in peace. This one simply says our mother, so I'm thinking possibly Mary Wire. There's a few wire stones here too, so it's almost like this is dominated by the three families, the Fallings, the Wires, and the Zimmermans. She's the wife of William Zimmerman, born April 29th, 1802, died February 16th, 1891. Mrs. William himself died January 11th, 1796. Oh, he was born January 11th, 1796, died July 31st, 1871. He was only 26. So this one here says our father, so we'll pull back a little and get a view of this whole stone here. Again, when you see father and mother next to a stone like that, it's likely that that's actually the footstones, sort of headstones, and the marker is kind of a generalization. Got two little random markers here. Going to come around. This is a different name, Atkinson. Let's see if there's anything around the back of this one. No. So what I'm thinking, again, this is a generalization marker. It probably represents these two folks right here. William Ross Atkinson, born 1871. Died December 10th, 1871, so this is the son. He wasn't even a year old. And this is Jeneth. Not really super clear when she passed away. 1873, I would think. Not really sure how old she was. High mortality rates back in those days for certain. We're going to come over here to this stone. This is Michael Martin. Actually, it's a newer, I haven't read off that name yet. This fellow was born in France. January 20th, 1798. Died January 27th, 1868. That's unique. Pull it back and get a good look at that stone. And let's see what we got going on here. Barbara, wife of Michael, born March 25th, 1800, died June 14th, 1875. So that's easy math. She was 75 years old. Doesn't say she was born in France, so I'm fairly certain he likely met her here. Now these stones here, there's a lot of showpieces here, but this, to me, is kind of a showpiece because of the way it's like the trees are growing as a backdrop and a surrounding to the stones. We got the stone over here that fell. This one here is Frederick. Can't make out the last name. And that's unfortunate. We would love to have been able to do that, but we have the joining of the hands with the wreath here. And then another over here. Looks like we have trees on it designed, which is fitting because it's surrounded by trees. I really can't make out when this person passed away. This is definitely a beautiful little cemetery. And that'll about do it. Don't forget to hit that subscription bell so you'll be notified when new videos drop. And don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button, and we will see you next time.